someone asks, how come I lost the bliss? They want to know how to get back to the bliss that they experienced in their glimpse. So this is actually quite common, that we can get a glimpse and we experience this unimaginable bliss, this feeling of expansion, feeling limitless, boundless, this ecstasy, feeling so intoxicated. And then it feels like it falls through our fingers. That experience just slipped through the fingers. And now we want to get back there. We want to experience it again. We want to hold on to that memory. We continue trying to seek that experience again. How can I get back there? Wondering, what did I do wrong? Why was it taken away from me? This is just an experience. It's temporary. There was a start, there was an end. No matter how perfect this experience felt, the body feeling universal, electricity flowing through you, tears of joy, just this feeling of euphoria, elation. This is just the effects of glimpsing our true nature. This is just the effects that is experienced in the body-mind. The mind feeling like it is expanding. As big as the room, as big as your city, as big as the country, as big as the world, as big as the universe. This feeling of expansion. The body feeling like it's pulsating with energy. Ecstatic. Feeling as if you just dropped. A heavy burden. This experience is experienced in the body-mind. But it's an experience. It's an effect of glimpsing our true nature. Now, this becomes an obstacle when you confuse the effect, the experience, with our true nature. What happens is this experience is the most beautiful experience you've ever experienced. It's the pinnacle of a human experience, you could say. There's nothing greater than this in terms of an experience for the body-mind. This is it. This is the pinnacle. But it's just an experience because there was a start, there was an end. It's temporary. It's currently not present. And if it's not present, then it's not the truth. The truth is here now. The truth is present. What you are is here now. It is present. But this experience is a nice shiny object in which that we were holding on to, and then it feels like we lost it. So now we are on the hunt, looking for the shiny object that we seem to have lost. But we're looking for something that can't be found. You're not going to find this experience ever again. Like any experience, it's one of a kind. Trying to recreate the past, seeking for the same experience in the future is suffering. No matter how beautiful, how expansive, how ecstatic, how blissful this experience is, you're not going to experience it again. It's not going to be the same. What happens is our mind now puts this on the top as some trophy, some pinnacle experience, and now it's ranking every other experience in comparison to that. It dismisses everything else. It's rejecting everything else because it wants that experience again. Now that experience felt so high. It was a temporary high because all you knew was the low. So it's, like I said, a pinnacle or a peak experience because of the experience of the valley. It's as if all you knew was the valley, but now you have a peak experience. It's that contrast, the valley and the mountain, that's making this experience appear to be so distinct. But when you look at it objectively, it's a high. And when you're so used to the low, this high seems so profound. But that what you are is beyond highs and lows. That what you are is not an experience. It is beyond experience. But when we confuse the effects, the letting go of limitation, glimpsing our limitless nature, and then experiencing the expression of that glimpse temporarily in the body and in the mind, then we're seeking an illusion. It's an illusionary experience. And often what happens is we can experience another glimpse. In fact, multiple glimpses after this, and dismiss it, reject it, because we're looking for the exact same effect. We're looking for the effects of the glimpse instead of recognizing what we are actually glimpsing. It becomes a distraction. It becomes an obstacle. It's misleading. It's leading you away from your true nature in a way, because our true nature is so natural and ordinary in comparison to this experience. It's here right now. So what happens is we can get a glimpse after, or multiple glimpses after, and we then measure it to this past peak experience and say, it's not it. This is my true nature. Is this? No, can't be. I'm rejecting this. Because what I want is I want that body-mind experience. I want another experience. So like this, it continues this seeking. But it's misleading because you're not seeking our true nature. You're seeking a peak experience. Now, that experience appeared to be so profound because of the contrast of the low to the high, creating this peak experience. And it's very similar to being locked up in jail your entire life. And then one day you break out and you've been in this prison for 50 years and it's dark, it's cold. And one day you break out and it's as if you break out and get a glimpse of outside the prison. And the contrast of being locked away for 50 years to then only experiencing darkness to now seeing the sunlight for the first time in 50 years, it's as if it's blinding. It's as if it's blinding. This fresh air is so fresh. The trees, the forest, the clouds, the birds chirping, everything appears to be so beautiful. It appears to be so heavenly. But this is just because of the contrast to what you're used to. I remember the initial realization for myself. I couldn't even look at the sun for like 5 days. I just being outside, my eyes were highly sensitive to the light. it was as if I've never seen the sun like that before. It was bright, white. So these are just the effects that are experienced through the body-mind. Now, like someone being locked away in jail for 50 years and then breaking out. This analogy or metaphor is kind of limited, but try and follow along. Breaking out and getting a glimpse of outside the prison. This contrast, this peak experience is actually going to be a one-time experience. Now, let's say you break out of jail, break out of prison, and you're on the yard, you're climbing over the fence to get out, and that's when you get caught. And they bring you back to prison, lock you in your cell. You go back to the cold, dark cell, living in darkness for another 2 weeks. Because on week number 2, you figure out another way to get out. The guards don't know about your tunnel from your cell. You wait 2 weeks and you say, this is the day I'm going to break out again. Instead of going over that wall, I'm going to go through this sewer. Now, as you step out of the prison, 2 weeks later, after your first breakout, the sunlight, the fresh air, the birds, the trees, the gardens, all of that is the same, but it's not going to feel so profound as the first time. It won't be the exact same. It won't have the same effect. Because you just saw the sunlight 2 weeks ago. The first experience, you didn't see the sunlight for 50 years. You didn't smell the fresh air for 50 years. You haven't seen a tree or gardens or heard a bird in 50 years. So the second time you break out of the prison, the effects are experienced, but they don't feel as profound. Now, this is just to give you an example of what happens. That it's the contrast that creates that peak experience, the initial experience. That experience is an effect, it's an expression through the body-mind. This massive release of energy is the effect of glimpsing our limitless nature. That prior to this, the belief in being separate, the belief in being just this body-mind, it's as if that energy is contracted. So then by just glimpsing that what you are is actually limitless, it's like, it feels like an explosion. feels like an explosion. But you're not going to experience the exact same of the same magnitude the next glimpse. And likewise, the glimpse after that. These glimpses after, they don't feel as profound. And even that's saying it incorrectly. The experience is the expression is not as profound. Because there was already that initial glimpse. And when you want to reproduce the initial glimpse, you create this quest, this hunt for something that's not going to happen. So you're always looking for something to happen in the future. You're always looking forward to that past experience that I had 6 months ago. Well, I want that to happen this week. I can't wait for that to happen again. But the reality is, it's not going to happen. Your true nature is not going to happen in the future. It's not going to be an experience that's going to happen in the future. It's here right now. It's simply realizing it. But when we're holding on to this experience and we've made it out to be some trophy and we're worshiping this experience, we're attached to the experience, and we're now expecting another experience that's just like it. We're just projecting into the future. We're taking something that was stored in our memory because it was an experience of the body-mind, so now it can be remembered. And now we're projecting it in the future, and we're chasing that projection. We have the expectation that it needs to be like the first experience. And we're confusing our true nature with the experience, that's not what it is. And it won't ever be the same. And it's not like it's just this profound experience. Look at your life. There's no experience that's the exact same. If you were to go on a vacation, the first vacation to wherever you go, that first trip, if you then try and recreate that same trip the next year, as many people do, let's do this. This was great. Let's do this every year. This is going to be our annual vacation. And you try and recreate the same thing, plan it the same way, bring the same people, visit the same locations. You try and recreate it. All you are creating is disappointment. You're trying to recreate the past. You're trying to take the past and project it into the future. You're trying to preserve some happy moment. And it's not possible. So the only thing to do is to simply let go. To let go of that experience. To just simply realize that it's not going to happen again, no matter how hard you try. No matter what you do, it's not going to happen. That's the very thing that you're actually seeking, is that experience. And when you stop projecting into the future and you stop chasing your own projection, then maybe you can just simply rest here, now. And our true nature will reveal itself to you. Hopefully this helps. I'll see you in the next one.